you both shall love, and not as long as you both shall live.
Well, I'd like to make a toast to Monica and to your success.
Thank you.
Amen. When I asked you what was your bag with marriage,
Not forever.
no, your promise was, I promise to be with you as long as I love you.
Yeah. Right. I argued with you about that
Right,
for
yeah.
a while. But toward the end of the conversation, you said something that really shifted it for me. You said, look, I'm just saying that if you look at marriage as forever, you might choose differently.
The people you get married to.
Right. And I was like, right. Yeah. It made all the difference.
Yeah.
And so I made a determination that I was never going to get married again unless I saw it as forever. And, you know, when I really got to know Monica, I realized that this was someone that I wanted to grow old with.
All my best friends in one room. How fabulous.
Oh, that's okay.
Congratulations, Monica.
No, I'm just amazed that people are getting married now.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it's just like, what it says to me is how much people want to believe in love. Yeah, in love. Because they're willing to take a chance. I just think it's really brave to get married.
You know, you guys probably heard that everybody has this mold that's they've designed through their life that's for their beloved. And many of us, including me, a good, I'm not even going to number how many times, try to like shove someone into that mold like, you are the one! Get in there! Get in there! But the real one just lies down. They just lie in the mold because they fit, and they choose to. I had spent the last 10 years of my life equating love with yearning. And I've learned that love is far from yearning. Love is the person who is there. Love is the person who wants you. And there is no yearning required.
Shaking up the day, filling up the night, opening my mind.
This song that Mark wrote is called With You.
You with me, my dreams come true. Your hand in mine.
I mean, I've always wanted someone just to say, always with you. And not only is he saying it, but it's in song, and it's beautiful.
I vow to express my love for you in words and in actions, so you will know and feel my love for you.
I promise to be open and honest with you, caring for you in a lifelong commitment. This is the good part.
Your favorite word.
Right. And I will be a committed and loving partner in raising our future children.
We are in a position now where we definitely could get hurt, and we're in anyway. But that's where the juicy stuff is.
Always with you.
Lots of people wonder about whether romance lasts, and that's a very variable question. There's not one answer to that question. Some people are married forever and are perfectly, perfectly happy, and some people regret it as soon as they walk down the aisle. And great love affairs come in different packages. My grandfather, who died a year short of 101, had a second wife, outlived his first wife, had his second wife, whom he married in his 70s, and that was the great love of his life, and it was totally astonishing.
One of the greatest stories about love in literature, just because we're all so familiar with it, is Romeo and Juliet. It's about love consummated, and then before it has a chance to fritter away, undercut by the obstacles. She dies, then he kills himself for love of her, and then it turns out she's not really dead, and she kills herself for love of him. What people don't remember is that Romeo was in love with someone else before Juliet came along. And in a minute, when he sees Juliet, he forgets his former love. So one of the enduring themes about love is its fickle nature, that somehow it has to do with the yearning of the human heart, which lands on one object and then lands on another, always looking for some object that is really up here.
Why is love so painful? Now, the only way I can understand that, and I mean this in different kinds of love, that it breaks the heart, and that the broken heart is no longer the innocent heart. So it's the great learning of the soul, that love is the great learning of the soul.
Yes, the soul, but the body too. Romance is almost always linked to sex, in and out of the media, most especially in our minds.
You'll never leave me, baby.
In the United States, I think that sex is extremely important and crucial, but it's not a universal. I mean, there are some arranged marriages where people fall into it and may or may not have good sex lives, but their bonds are around other issues.
Sex is really important when it comes to love because it is the embodiment of union. It's the way we know union best, and love is the yearning for union.
That was one of the most interesting things. I studied this question of what is romantic love. It's revolution, meaning it's upsetting some convention of some sort or another. Idealistic, so you don't really see what the other person is or even what you are. And what else is romantic love? It's unfulfillable.
Have you ever been in love?
Of course.
How did you know you were in love?
I was crazy, possessed, desirous, needy, unstable, and obsessed.
Perhaps the most powerful love story in all of literature is one that most people don't know much about. Dante's Divine Comedy. The poem was inspired by Dante's love for Beatrice, a young woman he saw from a distance when he, too, was young. The two never met, but Dante was stricken with her beauty. He spent years trying to deal with his love for her and his sorrow over her early death. Dante's longing and desire inspires his literary journey through hell, purgatory, and finally, paradise. But the message is about more than romance.
Dante's love story is different from the love story that mostly we have in this culture because the person that he falls in love with is someone who is leading him not to herself, but to God. So Dante's love story is not a love story about individual human beings. In the end, it's a story about how to go through the obstacles that your own personality puts in the way of true seeing until you come to God.
Harriet Rubin, an American author, was writing about Dante when she found her own life strangely paralleling that of the 14th century writer himself.
I set out to follow Dante's path through the 19 years of his exile. My plan was to make the walk that Dante made from Florence to Rome. When I got to Rome, I found at the gates of one of the libraries a Virgil scholar. And it was in that moment that I really understood what Dante must have seen when he saw the face of Beatrice. it was instant love with this man whom I didn't know. And oddly enough, that he was a Virgil scholar was important, because Dante, at the entrance to the gates of hell, meets Virgil, his sweet master, he calls him, the poet to beat on the block. And the two of them go through hell. Dante cannot make the trip alone. Virgil accompanies Dante all through hell and up to the very peak of purgatory. I started living hell myself at that. Hell, purgatory, and paradise at that time. My love was a coup de foudre, a clap of thunder, a bout of madness. I thought I would delay then making the rest of the journey, but I found there was no delay. Dante already had me in his story. And once that happens, there's no getting out. Stephen said to me in Rome, the day we met, he said, "We're going to marry. You are the love of my life." And I thought, how could he possibly know this? He said to me, "Do you want to live your life as if it's biography or a novel?" And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "If you want to live your life as if you're just going to build facts towards some kind of completion, just almost as if it were a resume, or if you want to live your life as if you were inventing a great love story, then if you want the love story, that's me." The love that Dante describes to us in the Divine Comedy begins actually in hell. When Dante makes his many circles through all the chambers of hell and confronts sinners one by one, what you begin to realize is that everyone in hell is in hell because he's loved badly. He's loved in the most material way. He's loved sex too much. He's loved money too much. That's why all these people are in hell. What Dante learns is that one must love the soul. One must love that which can never die. One must love the essence of all things, not their physical manifestation. We decided to marry. We chose a date, we found a home, and that night, Stephen, my Virgil scholar, suffered a seizure. The worst diagnosis of brain cancer one could have. 4 months, perhaps, of steady decline, we were told. We sought care, we sought treatment, and as we made this journey through the medical establishment, it was like going through the many circles of hell, going through hopelessness, despair, confronting death, sorrow. My fantasy white wedding became a wedding in the neurology ward at UCLA Hospital, a ceremony of hospital whites. Every fantasy I had became the most desperate kind of reality. And the reason I did this, to the extent it was rational, was because I thought, here is a man who has no time to fantasize love, who can only live and express what he's feeling. It was that urgency that stripped away all the fantasy and made love real and immediate. I never regret